And yeah, I looked at the what's his face's show, the God's Honest Truth, because I'm like, all right, like I'm kind of curious. Let me see.
What's this?
The God's Honest Truth, Charlemagne, like talking
Oh,
about people, like following people that they trust.
so
It's just like
which one were you? What was this episode about?
the last one, the
Oh,
poly
you say
amorous.
you okay?
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, I lied. I said, oh yeah, I'm not gonna watch it, and I was like, you know what, I'm kind of curious. Let me check it
I told
out.
you the girl.
Yeah, yeah. I
As
was
soon
like,
as you
oh
saw her,
boy.
you're like, I know all. I
Yeah.
know every opinion you have.
Yeah, yeah. So I wasn't blown away from it. I was just like, oh, I wonder what she's gonna say
Was
about
my
this.
description accurate?
Yeah, very accurate, man. I was dumbfounded how accurate that was. I was like, holy
I
shit.
told my girl we were watching it. I was like, I'll bet you $10 that he's smashing her out, waiting for something else to come along.
Oh shit. Yeah, man. It's so weird because, mm. Well, like at least at the beginning part, he was talking about because he was asking her. He was like, "Oh, is monogamy okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, 100%, it's good." Da, da, da. But poly is a way to go. And he's like, all right, and he's kind of like asked, they're dancing around these questions,
And Eric Dyson was
yeah,
he
yeah,
was
he was really damn. Like I see what you're saying with him. Like he
because
was
he
really,
wants to be that far left guy,
yeah,
but he also, I guess for whatever reason, couldn't compel himself to fully accept that.
yeah.
And like some type of integrity came out in him where he was like, well, let me.
Well, like I noticed that he was like trying to rebut it in a very very like soft
Vague
touched
way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like you could tell that he wasn't
He
for
wasn't
it because
he
like
wasn't
if he was
recanting it, but he kept emphasizing, well, as long as the home structure is good.
right, exactly.
And I'm like,
So
just
it's
go ahead
like
and say it. You can't do it.
yeah, because like I've heard him speak before. I'm like that doesn't sound like I've heard him like oh that
He's
like
usually more confident.
yeah, yeah, he's a lot more like hard pressed and urgent about like this
And
is
then
what
this
we
was
need to do versus what we
also
don't
she
need
was
to
a
do.
young black woman.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
light skin had something to do with it. Don't know. It's a
but
thing.
yeah, it is. But no, I think it's like he has a book coming out and he doesn't want to ruffle too many feathers and he's trying to like, oh, maybe appeal to her audience too. It's like, yeah, this is important. And she has
It can't work. And then what you're saying, like, well, I mean, we already kind of went through this, but
yeah,
like it's like a patriarchal type thing.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, because
We already
we already
eradicated
five
that
guys. If you're
stupid-
dating five guys and you get pregnant, like the four other people aren't going to sit around and raise your kid.
Yeah, like I don't know what the expectation is, but it's fun.
It's, like, yeah, it's all fun and games when like we're all just smashing you out.
Right, and it's funny because I'm just like, oh wow, like I wonder.
You're an
how,
attractive woman and I'm banging you. Great, I
Yeah.
can still look for something on the side.
Yeah, I'm curious to see like how.
That's
how
all it is.
down
It's a
the-
friends with benefits with a mutual
Yeah, a
agreement that
circle
I
of
can
friends
go
with benefits.
sleep with other
Yeah.
people.
And it's funny because she mentions in the thing when he's just like, oh well, like you're in a relationship, you're married, but you're
She
in an
was
open.
married?
Yeah, she's married,
Oh, I forgot that she was married.
but she's in an open relationship, so it's like or polyamorous
Well,
relationship.
why
so she just
why
hops
did you get
around.
married?
I don't understand. Oh, you know what it is? I think it's like I think she wanted that stability. She wanted that stability with that person, but she also wanted the freedom to be able to get blessed.
Shut the fuck
But she's honest about it.
No, she
up front.
wasn't.
Oh, she wasn't like with her. I'm talking
Wasn't
about
honest?
with her significant other. I'm talking about
Oh,
like maybe
oh.
with her.
Yeah, but I don't want to ever meet that man.
Yeah. Well, I have some questions, but. Mm. But she also said that like, oh well, like I'm comfortable with this, but maybe it's because the kind of guy that I'm with, like, cause like if he was out doing all kind of other stuff, like, maybe I'll feel a little different about it. And I was like, wait, so like there's a number, like, are you saying like there's a number amount that like like you don't want your guy to be
I
sleeping
think
around too much, but
she's probably been hurt by other dudes
yeah,
that were
yeah. So like
putting in work, putting in slight work,
slanging that
slight work.
big old tip. But I think I was trying to understand her philosophy, and it was different.
Oh,
but
why are you trying to? It was so flaky.
I know, but it's just like I'm trying to bring.
You should not. That's gonna make you dumber. focusing and listening to people who have no substance in their shit, it's just gonna make it worse for you.
Well, like, dice it up. Like, first,
That's when I need to play that clip.
yeah,
Of that
no,
guy
no,
saying,
from Happy, what's his face from Billy Madison.
we are all now dumber for having listened to you speak.
In no part of your incoherent rambling.
Did you make any type of point
But
or even attempt a coherent thought?
it was incredible, yo. That's so pertinent today. Oh, but for like, let me dive into Charlemagne first. First, I like, cause I was thinking about it. I was like, I don't know if I want to say like he has a lot of feminine energy. Like I think he's.
I will.
Well, like I think my issue with him is that he's or like my description of him, like he's a very intelligent shit talker who's like been habituated into saying decisive shit. That's like for whatever reason. He's on the radio. You know, he's talking to these big stars, like he's trying to elicit some kind of response, or maybe he's naturally like that, and it just happens to be popular. But it just seemed like that's who he comes across as, and so it's like it's like bittersweet, where it's like, oh, like I'm surprised he's not a comedian. He says a lot of funny shit, but then and wild takes, but then at the same time, it's like, but he's so close on Tommy Lauren. That's who he was talking about. My introduction to him was when he was he was talking to Tommy Lauren on her show. She was the person on Fox.
She was on his show?
No.
Or he was on hers?
Yeah, he was on her show.
When she was on Fox?
Yeah, when she was on Fox, and she was railing against Beyonce for like I think she like was accolading the Black Panthers, and
where she did the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So then she had him on, and then they were having a nice conversation.
They've done wonders, haven't they, for the movement? So much has changed.
Oh man!
I mean, do you remember that bill that got put to the floor? I mean, God, Jesus.
No, which one?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, oh God!
Absolutely nothing has been done. Except for that fucking performance. I mean, they probably have given money to
I'm
groups,
sure,
but like
let's be
nothing
honest.
has happened.
I mean, it's like the Wonder Woman thing, man. Everybody's catching it. Like,
Michael Brown died, and guess what? Nothing's changed.
Yeah. They're not like. Maybe they care, but I haven't seen anything to indicate that they care beyond what it brings to them financially. So it's like I think that they're using it as it's a nice lightning rod to pretend like.
What's the difference between like? It's caring and then half-ass effort.
Yeah, and it's almost like what I see them doing.
You could care about like I mean like you care about like kids being abducted,
right?
But you're not doing anything to actually help find these kids that are abducted.
100%. Yeah, that's what it is. So, not that I don't like. Yeah, not that like I don't want to, but it's just like limitations of my like
your time and energy. You've just decided that that's something you're not gonna do because if you do it, you're gonna have to do it. Like you can't.
And then I know that's gonna ruin my psyche.
That they would have to stop doing. They would have to stop doing their jobs. And running their empires. To then put full-time energy into doing that.
Yeah, that's true. So I mean, I guess
then it just becomes posturing.
Yeah. So I was like, I guess like people could be like, we'll defend them on that scale. Like, oh well, they're musicians. They're not supposed to be doing this, then third. It's like, all right, I understand. Like, if they wanted to shout out to this movement.
It's more so other
like
people.
But yeah,
it's more so other people.
As
I don't give a shit about Beyonce, but when other people like jump up and be like, "Oh my God, it was so great what she did," it's like, what are you?
Yeah. 100%.
Like, it's not like you said this performance is amazing.
Right.
Or like, oh, I love that song. It's like, God, change is coming.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, it's like you can't give it. Like when Lil Wayne
just
goes,
did 8 years of Obama. What the fuck? Nothing changed.
It's like when I was in high school, Lil Wayne was like the he was on everybody's album. He was on everybody's mixtape. He was just doing his thing, and like he kept saying, "Oh, best rapper alive," and I was just like, "Man, you're not even my top 10." Not to deny, like, all right, like you know, you have skills, and you know, he's like producing like crazy, but I'm just like, you're not one of my faves. But like, like everybody else was like, oh man, like yeah, he's the best ever. Oh my god, he's the best.
Well, if he had continued his run, he would have been.
Nah. But that's just me. Like I have a drastically. I mean,
he
it's
came
all
out with another 1 to 2 albums where he had like 5 top hits, you'd be singing a different story.
Nah, man. I don't like people jumping on the bandwagon. But that's just me though.
No,
like
if
I
he
like,
had 2 more albums that were as hot as that album,
yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. Because then you have a precedence.
Yeah,
then you have like 7 years of like solid, crazy.
Yeah, I like I could say like, oh, he's prolific and he's making this money and like, oh, the most successful rapper alive, I could say at that point. But like for me personally, it's like just because I like different, like I'm more of a Mos Def, Nas, Tyler Quality, Andre 3000,
So
that kind of.
So it's just like different, Drake.
Like he's okay. Like it's just I'm not like I'll listen to him, but I'm just not like.
But he's better than the vast majority.
For sure.
Yeah, but that's my point.
Like, of the current, yeah. So I mean,
like Drake's got like just there's constant. There's this massive catalog.
It is.
Whereas Lil Wayne's catalog is like a 3-year period.
Yeah. But like even with.
I was saying if his period was like 10 years.
But like, let's say like utilizing that, like if I look at Drake, it's like all right, like he's going on a nice long run. It's like, but still like he's not in my top 10. You know, but that's just because I like subjectively I don't. It's not my favorite thing. Like I could say he's one of the most successful rappers alive. I can't say like best because my opinion of best is different from other people's opinion of best. And
isn't best also lyrically and success?
Well, it depends. Like other people measure.
It's like I think it would be a combination though.
Yeah, like if you were to say like you could.
Like, are you saying Mos Def is in your top 10?
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. Yeah, I know. Like, but it's like I understand if he's not.
I know
most
what you mean by
10.
him being in your top 10.
Yeah. Like,
but at the same time, it's like he hasn't done enough. Like for me to hear.
I hear you. I get it.
But I know lyrically he is very, very, very good.
Yeah. And like the message that he's coming across, and then the impact and his flow and him as a musician. But it's like, but that's my personal take on it. As like going back to this whole shtick with Charlemagne, it's like, all right, like if he's like or Beyonce, it's like all right, like they're putting out this music, they're doing this thing, It's like, you know, the art speaks for itself, and people like it or not, and they'll use it for different things or not. It's like, but for people to hang on Beyonce's like every word, like, you know, like it's the gospel versus someone's actually doing, or organizations out here actually doing work towards the efforts that you care about. Like it's crazy because you can't even name one of those people. You can't even name one of those organizations, but you know Beyonce all day long, and you're thinking Beyonce is the one who's doing all these things. Meanwhile, people are like dedicating their lives to it.
She just put her fist up,
right?
Yeah.
That's and she put she inculcated the whole thing into a music video, and like, oh, the dancers are wearing this, and they like, all right, cool, little homage like, to it.
What was that song? Assemble or some shit?
I couldn't tell you which one it was. I don't listen to Beyonce that much.
Or March. It was something like that.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll touch on the music.
What was
thing
that
later,
from?
But,
didn't somebody get killed?
Might have. It might have been a response to that, but all that, like when
I'm trying to remember who died.
When when Tommy Lauren like had a take on that, it's like, all right, from like the very right wing and slamming it and like referred to the Black Panthers as a terrorist organization, and then she brought Charlemagne on because he gave her Donkey of the Day. It's like, oh, you're like you said something.
I'm aware of Donkey.
Okay, I just got educated.
You haven't heard of Donkey of the Day?
Yeah. But
it's an easy concept to figure out.
I when I heard it, I was like,
the asshole of the day.
I think I know what this is. Egg on my face. Drawing conclusions.
Okay,
but
she was on Donkey of the Day, so then she asked him to come on.
And that exchange, that's my introduction to Charlemagne. So I'm like, whoa, look at this. This guy's super intelligent. Like he can really like
depending on what he's fucking talking about. And then depending on the intelligence of the other person.
Yeah.
Tommy's not that bright.
Yeah.
Tommy's pretty stupid.
Yeah, I think she's just saying like these sound bites.
Because she had a viral thing that got just demolished about men.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that one.
Okay, yeah. That was horrific. So she's not too bright herself. So right. He's smart enough to make her look dumb, but like
but so like that was my introduction. I was like, whoa, like I'm used to smart black men. I'm not used to smart popular black men, especially like I haven't heard about them. Like, whoa.
And then you were
and then I watched the
then you're a
Breakfast Club. I was like, what the fuck is this? Yeah, like I'm brain drained.
He's got people coming on talking about how they don't believe in interracial marriages.
Yeah, it's like, wow, that's incredible.
And he's talking about how great of a person they are when he brings them on in the intro.
Yeah, fantastic.
I was like, that.
Yeah. You know, there's some stuff we disagree on. I'm not gonna say any of those things, supposedly, but I'm not gonna have any engaging conversations about any of those things. Just gonna ask him questions, and you know. But meanwhile, like I'm gonna sit over here and decisively say wild shit to people who are a little bit less. Emotionally stable musicians in order to elicit some kind of response. It's like, all right, like so he's an intelligent asshole. Like he's just a divisive person.
Oh, you know what I just thought of?
What's that?
He's a fucking hip hop Kevin Samuels.
Ooh. Yeah, I can see that.
But it's like worse.
He's slamming on.
He's just.
How old are you?
He's just slamming on. He's just shitting on like unintelligent dudes from the hood.
Yeah. Like that's fucked up, man. Don't do that. So I was watching that stuff, and I was just like, all right, cool. So he's talking to Tommy Lauren. So I was just thinking like, he's just like an intelligent shit talker. Why do you say he has a feminine energy? Like, or like when I was expecting to hear something like him like going off the rails. Or
there's a difference. There's a difference between like a toxic energy where you're constantly jumping off, yelling, but constantly overreacting emotionally to issues would be feminine energy.
Right, I see that. But
like if 70% of the time you're emotionally reacting to someone's statement.
Yeah.
Well, you're acting very feminine. Like, why are you so
about
why are you so
something
Like, I didn't even come at you. Like, I'm just talking about this. Is like, well, yeah, but I feel when you say that, it's like that's something that like my girlfriend says, not something that like my brother says.
Yeah. Yeah, like in that dynamic, it's like
that's what I mean by feminine. He's very emotional.
Yeah.
Because you look at other people like, I guess Kevin Samuels is a good example. Mm-hmm. Or like a Jordan Peterson or a Rogan or any person that has a major podcast.
I see it. Okay.
They only get angry when it comes to a head.
Like right here, right now, like, and then they'll say something.
Or when it gets to a head, or there's like a buildup of some sort.
Okay.
But if you come at them one way, they immediately got their facts.
Okay.
And then I'm going to give you my facts. We'll go back and forth. Or we've done this for 5 or 10 minutes. I might start to treat you like a piece of shit because you're not listening to me and you're just trying to bulldoze me with your bullshit ideology. Right, I've educated myself on this issue. Now I'm going to get mad.
Okay.
Whereas like him, because he doesn't half the time know what the fuck he's talking about, or he has some like half-educated thing. It's always an emotional reaction because he doesn't have anything to fall back on. Because he doesn't have a sound argument. Yeah. Because someone like these guys, they're insane. They're like me. Like I've had conversations, just sit in my bed, like be like, well, what about this? Like, so I've like mapped like if there's like a particular issue that I actually have an opinion on. Yeah. It's because I've thought about it. Like, right. Okay, well, Robert, what would you say if I said this? And then I'm thinking like, oh, well, he might say that. You know what? That might actually be better. And so I'm like already like, by the time I get in front of somebody arguing that point, I've already
fleshed it out.
I put it through the rigor a little bit of time so that I'm ready to deal with it. Right. I might not even be right.
Right.
But I at least have a foundation that is solid.
Speak on it. Yeah. So I haven't watched enough Charlemagne to really see. I just know like my expectations.
He doesn't yell.
Okay.
He's not like I don't think he over emotionally screams at people.
Yeah.
But he like it's usually an emotional. It's usually like I might be completely wrong, but in my head I'm thinking like it's usually like those things where it's like, oh, I feel and I think, and it's never like I know.
I follow.
Just like when just
like as opposed to challenging somebody's opinion with or what they're saying dialogue with facts, which is what he did with the Tommy Lauren thing. And admittedly, I haven't watched.
See, the thing is, he probably went into that situation with a solid foundation, so you saw him on top of his game.
Yeah, so I'm over here looking at him thinking that he's at this level. So then when I see
that's why he does get popular else, because he is in positions where he's on top, and he's the guy who has it all on his side. He knows it. He's confident. He can go to the bag and pull out the facts and pull out his arguments and this. But when he doesn't, it's
It's like I saw him just recently on cause I was looking up stuff on I can't watch The Breakfast Club, but I watched he has this interview with Trevor Noah about the show, and I was like, oh, this is interesting, but like there was then he said some stuff that I'm just like I'm like that like I could tell are like fleshed out thoughts, but it wasn't Charlemagne, but it wasn't it's coming from a place of not, I don't want to say ignorance because it sounds mean, but like he was saying like they were talking about when he had the somebody from Joe Biden's camp on, and he was like, yeah, well, Democrats aren't doing enough, and Trevor Noah was like, oh, like what kind of stuff should they be doing that they're not doing that they could? And he's like, oh, they could pack the courts and they could filibuster or get rid of the filibuster and hold people from January 6th responsible, so it's like, all right, so like he has an answer to those questions, but when I think about what he said, it's just like what, and Trevor Noah was like, oh, some people might argue in a very tactful way. Some people might argue that like, oh well, if the pendulum is in your favor now, but like when the pendulum swings in the other direction, then
it's gonna be that much more extreme.
Yeah.
You packed the courts?
Yeah, we're gonna pack it also. We're gonna follow your precedents.
We're gonna fuck you.
Yeah, and then he's like, and Charlemagne's like, oh well, if you do what you're supposed to do anyway, like if you take care of the people, then it wouldn't matter because you just keep on winning. And I was like,
it's a very ignorant way to look at it.
Yeah. Like I'm trying not to say ignorant, but it's just
he's ignorant.
Yeah.
You could say he's ignorant.
Like it's just.
Have you seen how many people have been arrested and charged from January 6th?
It's crazy.
They're being held responsible. It's just not. There's just no reason for that to be front page news.
Doing this thing, if people keep on talking about it, and then like
we're still arresting people.
Yeah. I don't understand it because it's like, and it's like that's my danger. I think
one guy got like 2 years.
God. Yeah, the real danger with
because he like broke a window or something like that. And he got like 2 years.
Yeah, nice little scapegoat. Like, all right, there we go, got him. You got him.
No, I mean there's a ton of anybody who like definitively like did something
that was against the law.
Like the dude sitting on Pelosi's desk.
Right, yeah. He got you on camera. We know your information. Like, all right, we're gonna prosecute
you. The bullhorn guy, he's done. Like anybody that was like, some of the people that were millowing in and just like observing and then like leaving. I don't think they're necessarily getting charged per se.
Yeah.
But certainly anybody who
did anything definitively against the law, like, oh, this is vandalism.
Like breaking through a door or something like that. Like
right.
They're on camera. They've found them. They've been. At least served papers of some sort or arrested. Like it's happened.
Yeah, man. It's just kind of crazy. That's like I don't understand.
Just like there are people who get arrested in these riots.
Yeah.
Depending on the city, like 200 people are looting liquor stores and shit like that. Like there's a handful of people who probably have been arrested for it.
Yeah.
Depending on your city. I could assume.
Yeah, no, 100%.
They have security cameras, like they can look.
Right. So when he's like, so my big problem with him, like I don't know about like I don't think I follow him enough to be like, oh, whether he's doing this through logic or emotions or whatnot. But I could say that like, oh well, he's like I see him at this level, and I'm sure a lot of people see him at this high stature. And then he'll say something like that, and it's just like, all right, that kind of like flies in the face of what's actually going on.
When I told you that he said you could easily shoot somebody in the leg.
Yeah.
That's somebody who is so confidently unintelligent about anything that has to do with firearms.
Were you the one telling me about the like the guy's a marksman, but like
well, DJ Envy said that he was just listing like what they knew about him.
Yeah.
And one of the things they said was he was a marksman, which is just a badge signification of your qualifications during basic.
Yeah.
It's marksman, sharpshooter, and then expert.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the reverse. It might be sharpshooter, expert, or marksman, expert, sharpshooter. Okay. I forget if that.
But either way, marksman is at like the bottom tier.
Bare minimum qualifications for your.
You could shoot in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit more.
And even then, it's a qualification within rifles.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not handguns.
Yeah.
And handguns are a completely different ball game.
Yeah.
Because the further distance, the less accurate they are. Because it's predicated, like, there's so much degree. Like, I mean, I've fired a number of firearms. So, like, a rifle, you can't miss. Like, if you're, it's almost impossible to miss if you're, like, 5 feet away from something.
Okay.
Just because of how it's aimed and the way, because of, I believe it's the length of barrel and how the bullet has to travel through it.
Okay.
It takes it longer to go off its flight pattern.
Okay.
Whereas a pistol, especially most automatic pistols, there's like no barrel.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's so all like, the receivers attached to the barrel, and it's there for like a few inches, and it's
so if you can't hold your hand still with the recoil, then it's like it might.
Well, it doesn't matter. Like if I slightly aim it left and it goes off, I can miss a target that's 5 feet in front.
Right.
Whereas as a rifle, for you to miss a target 5 feet away from you, you would have to like aim it away from the target.
Also, if you shoot, even if you are successful and able to shoot people accurately in the leg, that doesn't take away any capacity that they have to use their hands. So if they're carrying some weapon in their hands...
No, but it's also incredibly dangerous. Because if you miss, you deal with the ricochet.
Right.
And then if that bullet splits, you can have 2 different flight patterns, which then could hit 2 different people.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, even per his
you
logic...
You can kill multiple people with a miss shot into concrete. Like,
I'm trying to say, like, even if he's 100% right, and even if someone has the capacity to do that,
easily do
and they're able to hit the mark every time, hit the leg all the time. Someone who's holding a gun, you hit their leg, it's like, yeah, they're not going anywhere unless they have like Rambo levels of endurance.
One of your biggest arteries is in your leg.
Yeah, so you can nick it, but at the same time, it's still a death sentence.
That's literally how Sean Taylor died. He got shot in the thigh.
And then
he just bled out within like a couple minutes.
Yeah. Still a problem, man. And it's like, and
it would probably be better if somebody shot Sean Taylor in the chest.
Yeah.
Than shooting him in the leg.
Solid points, man. Oh yeah, but with the whole packing the courts and the filibusters, like, I mean, and like he's making an assumption of like, oh yeah, well if you do the right thing, you're gonna always win, and it's just like like he's assuming that, you know, one side is correct and then the other side's not, and it's like, and like if you look at the most staunchest advocates for whatever political party or whatever political candidate, it's like you find it in like the campaigners. Like the people who are like running the races every 2 years, like out there making those phone calls and emails and writing the letters and all that shit. Like they really care and really devoted to this. And if you ask them, like, hey, would it be better if the entirety of the federal government was run by your party or people like your person? And that you probably get 1 or 2 answers. Either they're gonna be like, absolutely. But if they're 100% honest with themselves, though, and willing to be honest with you. And I asked somebody this before because I was kind of curious, and they were just like, well, it's good to have a system that keeps you honest, and like you're voting, like you're doing all this work because you believe in this person and their message and what they're doing, and you think that they have what it takes to be able to handle whatever unforeseen future events or circumstances are. Like you can't know that, short of having a crystal ball. You don't know. So like you find somebody who you really appreciate, really like, could really willing to have all these sleepless nights and do all this work for, and then you go for that. It's like, but you don't. There's no way of knowing whether you're being completely honest. And if you only have people who look at things the way that you do, and there's no mechanism in place, especially in government and politics, to keep
You're
you
not
honest.
in a good spot.
Yeah. So it's like,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
yeah. So if it's just like if one side just keeps on winning, like per that logic, and it's like that's not a good fit. And it's not just this random campaigner who said that. I mean, it's even in the Federalist Papers, like Hamilton or Madison or whoever the fuck wrote the papers. It's like they were talking about like not making it a dictatorship of numbers. They didn't want it to be a monarchy, but they also didn't. They want to, have the federal power consolidated too much.
Well, the problem is that they lived back in a time where you had more personal responsibility of yourself.
Yeah.
So, like, George Washington does his term, and then he says, "Okay,
yeah,
I helped. I did it. I'm the first one. I'm gonna go away and never be in politics again.
Yeah.
And just do. I mean, maybe he goes to functions.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm assuming he might go to a function, like just to say hello. Oh, we're having someone's birthday party.
Yeah.
Washington, come. Like, it might be something like that. But, like, he's not.
He was not a fan, man.
Lincoln did the same thing.
Okay.
Because that's what they would do. They would do their 4 years, or maybe they would try and do a second.
Yeah.
And then when they would leave, they would just go away.
Yeah. It's like, I'm on public enemy. That's not my job. Like, now it's somebody else's job. That's what it is. Yeah, man, 100%. So it's just like it's kind of crazy for them to just assume like, oh, like to be like one side of the political aisle is right all the time on all things, present and future is pretty, didn't want to say ignorant, but I'm finding it hard pressed to find another word to describe. Maybe he's a future teller. Maybe he has a crystal ball we don't know about. But at the very least, I find him entertaining. He's capable of incredible dialogue. It's just unfortunate that I feel like I think his intelligence is going to waste or not being utilized optimally, or at least people aren't looking at it from, okay, like, oh, I see he's saying this, but all right, well, let me take a more tempered approach because what he's saying isn't 100% factual. So it's like, it's just super unfortunate, not about him personally, but it's just that because I don't think he recognizes the damage, the effect that what he says and how he says it has on everybody. Like, I mean, it's hard to be able to see all that, but I don't think he knows how far from hitting the mark he is versus not.
Well, he gets a lot of positive reinforcement, so that's gonna make it difficult for anybody to change who they are if they're already successful.
Right. Like, who are you? Like, this no-name podcast with 5 subscribers telling me what's right politically.
Bitch-ass motherfucker.
Yeah. Oh, man.